that kind of date back to the Westerns. We still use them these days. One of the things we do is we size the sets differently. And back in the Western days, we would actually make doorways really big or really small, and that was to make our actors look a different size. And so we had a lot of our male actors were not necessarily John Wayne's height, who was well over 6 feet. Some of them were pretty small, and like Alan Ladd, he was pretty short. So we would actually stand him in a shorter doorway so that he would look really big and tall because he filled the doorway up. Well, it's really, there would be a ledge here, so you would look like, oh hey, I almost reached the top. So this is like one of the shorter doorways, but then we also have the large doorways, so it's kind of fun to see what you look like. Take a picture of some of the doorways here. So like we have, this doorway is huge. And obviously if we want them to look a little smaller, maybe we'll stand the ladies in front of it. We filmed My Little Chickadee here with Mae West. She was rather tall and a larger woman, and so we want to make her look a little daintier. She'd stand in front of this doorway, so she'd look a little bit smaller. Obviously if we want to make her look just a little taller, we can stand her up a ledge or down. We would even dig a trench in the street before it was cement, and then the lady on her horse would actually ride in the trench, and the male co-star would ride above on the level street, so she would always appear a little more diminutive. Fun effects. So I mentioned facades. A facade basically is what makes up most of a backlot. It's a front and sides to a building, but not the insides or the back. You can see actually through the top of that building, there's nothing much holding it up other than some telephone poles. You can kind of see that around here. Most of these buildings are facades. We'll actually go on the back side of these so you can see them too, except for this building. This is a practical set. We do have the inside built. We can't go in it, but we can look in it. This was built for the movie Wild Bill. It was a movie with Jeff Bridges. It was, I think it came out in about 95. And this was the saloon, and they actually have used this since for several other productions. One of them was Jessica Simpson's music video for These Boots Are Made for Walking. And that was filmed in here. But you can see this actually is a full set indoors as well. So we can go ahead, set this up, film inside this one. But the majority of these sets, and you actually now can kind of from this angle get an idea of the windows there. You can see there, you can see out the other side. There's not much to that other than what you're looking at right now, the front wall. And if you come up here, you can see that the siding is that staff brick that we were looking at earlier in the staff shop. Make up most of these, except that some of the sets here on 6 Points actually date back to the days when they used foam rubber to make the brick buildings. So they used to actually make a lot of the buildings out of this foam rubber brick. And they would basically coat the wood in the foam rubber, and then you end up with a lot more plush of a building. So it helps out with our stunt scenes. The Western streets are also where we originated the use of candy glass and the windows, which got its name because it used to be made out of a sugar spun material, and so we could break through it, and it was already pre-broken, it wouldn't hurt. Looks really great on screen, but it doesn't hurt our actors. We're actually going to see some candy glass in the property warehouse. And then a lot of the balconies would be made out of balsa wood, which is a breakaway, very lightweight wood that we can make to break. And so those two things helped us out in a lot of these Western stunt sequences. We film movies like Winchester 73, Destry Rides Again here. Even The Quiet Man, one of my dad's favorite movies. Sat us down, had us watch that a couple of Christmases ago, and whew, that was enough for me. But you can see some leftover signage, even though there's a can up there. We used to have Murder, She Wrote would come out here and shoot every now and then. Murder, She Wrote. This is where Murder, She Wrote basically was shot. It's here on the lot. And they would dress this up to be one small town or another. The movie Bedtime.
I am Chris Gullick.